By Academy Sports and Outdoors. Rockets fall tonight in Utah, 124-115. Game they led at the half and led in the fourth quarter and let slip away to a team that had only won 6 times at home all season. The worst home team in the league beat the Rockets on the second night of a back-to-back. Again, 124-115 the final, alongside the Hall of Famer Adam Wexler here with you. The Rockets end up splitting this back-to-back. We'll have another one early next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, back here at Toyota Center. But, Calvin, this one, certainly one they know they needed to get, one they might have thought they had. And down the stretch, the Utah Jazz just went and took it from them.
Very disappointing, obviously. But and I'm not looking for excuses for the team, but it's very obvious their legs were dead tonight. They got out hustled. They had 66 points scored on them in the paint. 66 points. They missed 8 free throws. So when you start looking for a reason to pass blame, you'd have to say it was their legs, because you don't miss 8 free throws unless your legs are tired. They just ran out of gas going into the fourth quarter. Simply that. They were missing layups. They were missing 8-foot jump shots, uncontested. So that tells you right there that they were just exhausted from last night in travel. And it happens during an NBA season. Unfortunately, this was a game that they needed. You know, when you look at the pecking order in the West, you don't have the luxuries of losing these kind of games that you already put on your ledger as a win.
Yeah, all back-to-backs aren't necessarily created equal. It was a back-to-back for Utah as well, but they were at home last night. They got smoked by Oklahoma City. Their players weren't playing 35-plus minutes a night. The Rockets were at home against Minnesota. A late tip took them all the way to the fourth quarter to put that one in the win column. And then they go out there tonight, and unfortunately, the second half is where this game went Utah's way, out-rebounded them, and they shot 64% from the field after halftime. That's how they got their 14th win of the season. And the Rockets a loss in game number 57, be back home for the majority of the good stretch of time to close out the month of February. Time now for our breakdown segment from tonight's game, presented by Memorial Hermann Rockets Orthopedics. With Jabari Smith Jr. in foul trouble, let's go to Jeff Green, said Ime Udoka, and that worked very well.
Well, you know, when you start talking about Uncle Jeff, you're talking about a seasoned vet that understands how to play the game. You know what upsets me a lot about the NBA is when they start labeling you too old, too short, too something. You give if you're on an NBA roster, that means you still can play. And this is what Uncle Jeff did tonight. He showed that he still had something in the tank. He gave it what he had coming off that bench, scored 16 points, played extremely well for a tired Rocket team.
Yeah, only took him 8 shots to get those 16
6 for 8,
points.
absolutely.
Hit 4 threes. He's a pro, which is what I'm sure everybody he's ever played with, even in his early days, would say about him.
Absolutely. You know, when you can tell by the way he comes to the game and plays, he doesn't sit there and sulk about anything. He keeps his mind in the game. He's watching the situation. His number is called. He's ready to play. And this is all a coach can ask, because, you know, he doesn't get a lot of time, obviously. So you can give him an excuse if he went out and didn't shot poorly, he didn't get it. He's been there before. And he's proven that he still belongs there now.
Yeah, certainly helped them, again, in that first half and all the way into the early portion of the fourth quarter. The Rockets had the lead. They had a 7-point lead early in the fourth quarter, ultimately lose by 9. The head coach, Ime Udoka, just now meeting with the media.
I don't know if it's anything they did specifically other than us not being able to stay connected to marketing, not guard George one-on-one. And when we did get stops, they got every offensive rebound. So nothing, they didn't do anything different than the rest of the game. I mean, and so, but it was ugly, embarrassing, non-competitive game all the way around.
How would you assess the defensive effort tonight?
Terrible. Lack of understanding who we're guarding from the start. Specific things takes us a quarter and a half to go under on a point guard that can't shoot. Stay under a shooter, and when we're switching out, he back cuts us about 5 times. So attention to detail, poor. I think either we got to watch longer films and go over personnel more for us to understand that. But, that was it. Non-competitive.
Well,
How important was Jeff Green and his minutes there, especially in the third quarter?
Yeah, without him, we would have totally been dominated off the bench. He had 16 of our 29, and like I said, Keontae George comes off the bench and scores 30. He outscores our whole bench by himself, and we understand who he is and go under screens and make him very comfortable. And he's a guy that you want to get into and be physical with, and has 11 points right off the bat, and obviously goes for 30. Didn't make the adjustments we had to at halftime, so without Jeff, it would have been 30 to 13. And so we needed all his points, and he gave us a boost, but couldn't carry it over.
Coach, the Rockets have a young and talented team. What has been the biggest challenge in developing these players, and what aspects do you think will take them to the next level?
Consistent competitiveness and taking a jump in the IQ department.
All right. Any more questions?
No.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think Ime Udoka ran through the gamut of negative words to use at a post-game media conference, and I think the Rockets are well aware of why he did that. 124 to 115, 124 to 115. The final tonight, Jazz beat the Rockets. We'll continue with Rockets post-game presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Rockets fall to 35-22 on the season. They fall to the Jazz tonight, 124 to 115. Jazz outscore the Rockets by 15 in the second half to get their 14th win of the season, just their 7th win at home on the year. The Rockets got the 4th straight double-double from Alperen Sengun tonight. His performance, that was fun. Presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Calvin, his 4th straight double-double, his 34th of the season, the 100th double-double of his career.
Well, you're not surprised in the way he plays his game that he's going to get a double-double most of the nights because of his hustle, his determination. He's going to score. You know, he hangs around the glass, to get his rebounds. So getting his double-double, I'm not surprised whatsoever. What I am surprised with is that they were able to get so many points in the paint on him and his teammates. But as far as what he did for the game tonight, basic basketball on his part. What he does every night.
That's what he's out there and he has been doing. He wasn't much different from the rest of his teammates, like you said, team-wide. They just got outplayed in the second half. He wasn't alone, and the team obviously had him, I think, in a position where they just couldn't keep them from scoring, and they never really pulled away. They never were comfortable where they were.
In the second half, we were a step behind. It's just that simple. They were able to take the ball to the basket well. We got very little support from the weak side that normally would cut off the seams with them going to the basket. So they had free reign coming at the Rockets. And when that kind of stuff happens, you know that those legs feel like you're standing in mud.
All 5.
Been there, done that.
No doubt. All 5 Utah Jazz starters in double figures. And as head coach Ime Udoka mentioned, off the bench, they got 30 from Keontae George, 50 points for him over his last 2 games. The Rockets fall 124-115 to the Jazz tonight. We've got much more still to come here on a Rockets postgame. Tonight's Kia player profile, Amen Thompson, another strong game for him. 22 points, 9 boards, made 9 of his 15 shots tonight. Calvin, his 3rd 20-plus point game this month.
Yeah, just doing what we're accustomed to see him doing, being aggressive, taking the ball to the basket quite a bit. You know, the one thing that I like about him, right from the outset of the game, he was aggressive, and it continues to all 4 quarters. Unfortunately, the Rockets weren't able to get a victory on this tonight, but nevertheless, he did his part to get close enough where they could have if they had a bit of 4th quarter.
Yeah, it seems like he's found more and more spots to score from. 2 of his 3-pointers come tonight. One of them not in the corner. And again, some of the stuff in the paint he's been able to finish. Part of their starting 5 again tonight was Amen Thompson, our starting 5 box score. He, Jalen, and Alperen Sengun, much like they closed out the win last night in Minnesota, or with Minnesota. Offensively, they led the way then. They led the way again tonight. 27, we just mentioned, for Alperen. And Jalen Green hit 6 of 12 from deep, the second 10-assist game of his career, along with 25 points.
Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't get enough productivity out of Jabari and Dillon tonight offensively. Dillon had a rough night shooting he had good looks that I know he would love to get back again. Jabari just was out of sync for some reason tonight. Just one step behind Utah's offensive display defensively, and offensively he just couldn't buy a basket.
Yeah, last night, everything he put up there seemed to go in. He made those early threes, scored 9 in the first quarter. He did foul out of last night's game. He picked up another 4 fouls tonight, which is why Jeff Green came into the game so early. I think maybe that's where a little bit of the rust. He hadn't played since January 3rd, maybe a step slow and reaching a little bit more than he usually does.
Well, last night, as well as tonight, you get fouled sometimes over hustling. Trying to do a little too much. That's what happened last night. I think tonight his fouls came just being, behind a step and reaching a little too much.
Let's get back out to the Delta Center, Craig and Ryan, to recap the game.
All right, appreciate that, Adam. Rockets now 6 straight road losses. Tough one tonight on the second night of a back-to-back after a big win last night at home against Minnesota. The Rockets lose tonight here in Salt Lake City to the Jazz. Rockets obviously did not have their best quarter down the stretch, gave up 37 to Utah Jazz in that fourth quarter as Utah kind of pulled away. They got stronger as the game went along. The Rockets did not. Rockets, though, put up 115 on the board, Ryan. Again, the MO of this team is they got to defend. They did not defend well enough here tonight to win the game. They scored enough, but they didn't defend well enough.
You're right, Greg. Giving up too many straight line drives, not enough weak side help there. And without Fred VanVleet, this is a group that has to win games with their defense, with their hustle. They're not going and getting those offensive rebounds that give them second and third chances. And that was really the identity of the ball club, defense and rebounds. And everybody was saying, hey, when the offense comes around, you're going to have something to work with. And with the offense getting a little better, the defense has taken a step back. And, Coach Udoka is probably going crazy that guys are playing against Houston and they're getting their numbers. That's a big problem. Keontae George with 30, second half. Marketing woke up and they're getting shots that you're seeing on the scouting report that you should be prepared for.
And Utah played multiple 7-footers throughout the course of this game. I talked about this early in the game. Kessler is one of the best rim protectors in the league. For the Utah being the worst ranked defense in the league, last in defensive rating, you can make an argument the last couple of years, they've been the worst defense in NBA history. They do protect the rim. Even with all that said, they do protect the rim. In this game also, again, the Rockets did score 115 points, but another reason why the Rockets ended up losing this game, they got out-rebounded by 17, 58-41. And in the paint, Utah outscored them 66-36. They outscored by 30 in the paint. The Rockets only shot 18 of 38 in the lane. Utah went 33 of 50.
And even bigger free throws. Those missed free throws. You get into a close game situation, you look back, and those missed free throws bite you. You dig yourself into a hole. So Houston going to have to find a way to get a sense of urgency. Coach Udoka may have to be a little more creative offensively. I'm sure he'll get back to it. But the big focus, as you mentioned, Craig, it's the defense.
And the Rockets have a couple of days off now. They don't play again until Tuesday for their fourth. They'll start their fourth straight set of back-to-backs with Milwaukee in town on Tuesday, so a chance to hopefully regroup and get back to things against the Bucks on Tuesday night. But again, a big win last night, but they gave it back with a loss here in Salt Lake City, and hopefully a chance for this team to get back at it. Maybe Fred VanVleet will be back on Tuesday. We're not sure. Hopefully he will be. But a tough loss again here as we go back to you, Adam and Calvin.
Thank you, Craig and Ryan. Again, Fred VanVleet, they mentioned it a couple of times. He's missed the last 9 games. The Rockets dropped to 3-6 in those games. Much more coming here on Rockets postgame following the Rockets loss to the Jazz 124-115.